Hello and welcome to the Climbing Daily Friday Gear Show. Now it's January, which means it's deep into climbing training season. Personally, I'm spending hours every single night in a cold, horrible, dusty gym attempting to get strong, and so should you be, because summer's just around the corner and this is the time to get those gains. So today we're going to be looking at a few training options on the market and my favourite selection of products that we sell at the EpicTV shop. So we're going to start off with these training rungs from Lattice. Now these are very simple but beautifully made with lovely finger-friendly wood. And there's a 20mm standardized edge on the rung that you use for dead hangs and pull-ups and weighted things. And basically, the company was started by Tom Randall and Ollie Tor, and they're obsessed with data. They've been collecting stuff from climbers for years and years, put it into a huge database so they can accurately assess where you are in your climbing progression. Now with the Lattice rung, as well as the fingerboard itself, which comes with pre-drilled holes for easy mounting, you get this little set of instructions. This has got 3 training programs on the back to get you started within the training world. But what I love is the self-assessment. So there's instructions for this. You simply do the self-assessment, fill it in online, and they'll get back to you with an assessment of your strengths and weaknesses and where you need to improve. What's kind of cool about Lattice is once you buy a product, you're in the system, you're in the whole training sphere. So it's not just a training rung. So the Lattice rungs are very simple, but if you want a slightly more complicated fingerboard, then it is worth checking out the Beastmaker range. Now it's kind of run and organised by Ned Fahidley, who is this amazing climber in the UK. Again, all handmade and beautifully produced with that finger-friendly wood. There's 2 main models of Beastmaker, the 1000 and the 2000. The 1000 they recommend from about grades of 5A to about 7C, and the 2000 for more advanced climbers. Now both boards feature different size holds and pockets and slopers and jugs, so it's an entire training concept. And they also have quite a useful little app you can download for fingerboard training programs. Now you can buy Beastmaker in the UK off their website, but on the EpicTV shop it's about as cheap as you can possibly find it, so it's worth checking that out. Now fingerboards are great if you want a single fingerboard setup, but there are other products available if you want to build more of a home gym. I'd recommend checking out the Cafe Craft range that we've been selling on the shop for quite a while. There's sling trainers, parallettes, there's rings, everything to build a sort of complete setup. So a TRX, and the parallettes are great for those sort of push-ups and handstands on the floor if you're any good at that. We also sell their books. Now this is a useful training guide and it's written by Patrick and Dickie, who work at Cafe Craft. They're sort of the masterminds behind the Gimme Craft training movement. And the books are great. They go through theory, tips, tricks, and they have training regimes built in. One's even got a fancy DVD thing. Now they're the trainers of Alex Magos, so if you wanted a pedigree to trust, they're pretty good for that. We have a whole selection on the EpicTV shop, so check it out, link in the description below. And also, comment below and let me know your home gym setup. Do you have a vast garage a bit like this one, or do you just have like a dusty old corner in a room? Let me know how you guys train. Now there's a company called Max Climbing, which we've sort of been championing for a while, and they started off really small, but recently they've added more products to their list. So we'll start off with the classic, the Max Grip. This is the resin version. It comes in 2 of these, and what's cool about this is you can flip it into different positions depending on what type of training you want to use. So there's pinches, there's crimps, there's slopers. This is the resin version. Now what I much prefer is the hybrid. This has got a little bit of resin on the outside, just to give it a bit of structural integrity, and then lovely wood in the middle. The hybrids are more expensive than the resin, but in my opinion, they are worth it just for that finger-saving wood. And also they're a lot lighter. So if you want to whack these into a training bag and take it to a crag or your local gym, it's far easier to do it with the hybrid. Now I talked about new products they've invented, and they have the Spinch Board. Now there's 2 types of Spinch Board, the Spinch Board Solo and the Spinch Board Normal thing. And the Spinch Board Solo Hybrid is something that I really like. So it's, again, similar to this hybrid. It's a fingerboard, it's wood and resin. There's lots of different holds throughout it, and it's quite a low profile, thin, good looking fingerboard. But what's interesting is you can flip it. So using the 2 screw holes, you just reverse it so it's upside down, and then the holds become harder. So what's great about that is that you can progress the board with your climbing. So you start off with good holds, you get very good at them, you go to the smaller holds, and then you flip the whole board and everything becomes harder and your level steps up a bit. So that's kind of cool. And the Spinch board itself is split into 2 resin blocks. And the joy of that is you can change the angle of it. So let's say you want more pinches instead of more edges, you can adjust that on your training board. The only thing I think might be a bit weird about that is it is going to be a bit of a fiddle. And for me, I want my fingerboard on the wall and it stays there and I use it. I'm not sure I want to be drilling bits out and flipping it over and stuff. But having said that, it is very versatile. And especially if you can't necessarily get to a gym very often, let's say you live an hour or so away from your nearest climbing wall, you want something a bit more advanced and something that can progress with you. And that's where this max climbing range really, really excels. Now, Alpidex is a brand that's new to me, but they have got some interesting gear. I especially like the wood sticks, very aptly named. These are 35 millimeters in diameter, and you kind of hold them in a grip position like that. That improves your grip strength, it improves the stabilizer muscles, helps your core when you're hanging off it, and you can do a variety of exercises with that, which is different from crimping because you're gripping. The other thing they have is a Sling Trainer Master 5000, which again is a ridiculously good name. That's a kit all for 119 euros, and it's sort of a Sling Trainer and a TRX in a box. So you have the normal foam handles, but you get an extra 7mm and 5mm wooden balls within the set. So you can swap out the handles to make it harder and use, again, more of that grip. So it's like a little mobile gym all in a box. So you buy that and you're pretty much ready to go. Now, often when we think of training, we think of physical stuff, getting fitter, cardio, muscle stuff, but there is a mental aspect to training as well. Rowan van Woest has written this book called Fear. And this interests me because fear is a big part of climbing. It doesn't matter how strong you are, it doesn't matter how many one-arm pull-ups you can do. If you get gripped and freeze up on the wall, you're not going to be able to use any of that strength. Now, Rowan found this interesting, so she went and interviewed top climbers like Alex Honnold, Lynn Hill, Steph Davis, and she found out about their fear process, how they manage it, how they deal with it. And the book gives lots of tips and tricks and inside stories all about fear. So if you want to get your mental game trained up as well as your finger strength, then do check out that book. Finally, we're going to look at chalk because with all of these things we've been talking about today, you need a good grip on it. You don't want to be dry firing off your lattice rung. Now, what I tend to do is get a big bag of chalk, for example, like the Wild Country 1 kilogram loose chalk, and I just put that into my boulder bucket, and that's my standard chalk setup. But if I want to upgrade my chalk game a little bit, maybe for outdoor projects or just for those really important training sessions, then I kind of like to upgrade my chalk. So look at Friction Labs. Yeah, it's expensive, I know. I avoided using it because it was so expensive, and then I used it and then I became addicted. It's a real problem, but it is genuinely good. The other thing is the Black Diamond Black Gold chalk. That's got Upsolite in it, which is fantastic for drying out your fingers. It comes in a nice little sachet, it's all ready for you. Again, more expensive, but it is worth the extra money in my opinion if you want to have solid fingers that don't fall off holds. So that's it. Hopefully it's given you an idea of the training products that are out there and available, and there is a big range of them, not just the stuff I've talked about today, but I thought I'd share with you a few of my favorites. All of the links are in the description below if you want to check them out and find out more information. Thanks for watching, have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you soon.